My question is about will versus karma, or the intersection of will and karma, and does will overcome karma?
If you have the willpower to do something, you do it. Or you attempt to do it. In other words, who will survive the changes? Who will live a full life? Who wills to live a full life? Is that someone who prepares for the conditions that more or less substantiate the karmas of life that could be lived to the fullest? No? Who works with that in mind, that they will survive and or present or provide the universe or the earth with certain product? In some cases it appears to be the will of the individual, in other cases it's just genetic. It just happens, because that's what the person was designed to do, and there's not much they can do to change that. So it's genetic will, or genetic intention, same as will. Force, creative force, right? Movement in a certain direction, process, progression, right? Determination towards completion or accomplishment. Come in.
Is will a product of the ego or the egoic, or where does it come from?
Ego doesn't exist. So, ego's an assumption. It's our facility to limit ourselves. Will is the will to survive. What do you think that's egoic? No, the will to survive is native. It's natural. You will survive at all costs. The will to breathe air when you're being pushed underwater, what is that, egoic? No, it's survival instinct, so it's more powerful than the ego. The ego has nothing to do with it. The ego may want the person to be dead, but the will to survive could be greater and stronger than whatever ego wills. Another person's ego could want to do you in, destroy your life form, and your will to survive may be greater. So the will to survive is distinct from the ego. Right? The egoic assumptions of whatever else could be added to the survival force itself.
Would you say the will is the strongest force we have as beings?
Survival is the strongest force, yeah. And the will is maybe added to that. You breathe, not because your ego says to breathe. You breathe involuntarily because the life force says, no, you're living and you have to live and you keep living. In your sleep you don't say, I'm going to go into the egoic program and force myself to breathe when I wake up. It's already covered, man. Nothing yourself can do about it. It's already covered. Now, when something comes up that defies that, then your will to survive will show itself. Now, whether that's egoic will to survive or not, well, survival itself, toss-up, is subject to interpretation. Survival is the issue. And then will, you will to survive in what place, under what conditions. And you seem like you have choices now. I will survive here, I will move here, I will live here, I will do this here. That could still be survival, but it's also called a will because it seems like the ego had something to do with it in determining what the conditions are. Come in.
Yeah,
And it's not important. The idea is you're surviving and you will survive and you'll continue to survive. Whether or not you attribute it to an overblown ego or an underdeveloped ego, it doesn't matter. You will breathe. Come in.
yeah, so absent necessity for survival, let's say the will's use in terms of determination to create or express something, or these types of things, is it the same force where it's not tied in with the survival imperative, or is it something else going on?
Well, what are you asking?
I'm asking of the nature of the will independent of the nature of the will for survival. Does it function the same? Can it create? Does it have power in the same
Of course,
way?
the will has power. Right? Remember, it's part of it's an extension of your survival, or let's call it your self-image. It's an extension of that. I will be better. I will do better. I can be better. I can, will do better.
So those all come out of the survival instinct, in a sense?
Well, obviously, they're intertwined, let's say. Maybe different aspects of it, maybe different intensities of the same thing. Events. And you also are subject to the will of your parentage. And that's a separate survival. I guess it's a command center. Beyond your ego, your self-ego. You survive because of the influence of your ancestors. It's a little bit more nebulous here, but yeah, ancestral commands already built into you. I have to do this, I will do this. You say, well, I don't want to do it. Oh, I do. Maybe I don't, but I must, and you do it. So it then depends on what we mean by self and what we mean by family, and knowing what the roots of the family are to further differentiate or clarify what your motives are, what your determinations are, what your conditions are, and what it is that you're here to do, what your purpose is. It could be musical, it could be non-musical. It could be historic or non-historic. It can be materialistic, it can be psychic, it can be spiritualistic, it can be any one of them. It could be creative, in fact. Or it could be neither of those. You can just be a lump on a log and, survive, till your last breath and pass over without a notice or a fuss. It could be that too. Why not?